we are going to go over a lot of updates we've had. June was one of our biggest release months yet. We shipped a ton from a new preset library that basically sets up the whole creation for you, a much smarter video editor. We've added so many different AI models to our platform. We've done a ton of fixes, new features, new ways to just make your life easier and to be able to create content. This session is going to be different than our usual. Usually we go into AI tutorials and teach you how to do things. You'll probably learn here as well, but the biggest thing now is now you can see all the latest updates in here to see how it can benefit you, and we'll kind of talk through those as well. In our last session, we covered our new presets menu, but I have to touch on it here because it's such a big update that we had in the month of June, and it's going to come across anywhere you look inside of the app. So inside of visuals, one of the big updates, if you go generate an image or generate a video, let's say I come in here, you're going to notice something here brand new. It says, what are you making today? This is our new preset menu. You could choose from a series of presets. You don't have to understand the prompts. You don't have to prompt anything. You could literally just jump in here and select what it is that you want. Let's make this a little bit bigger for you. And so things like if you're trying to generate a cover art, a YouTube thumbnail, a Spotify canvas frame, if you want to turn your image into a press photo, or a popular one is going to take your album cover or single cover and turn it into like a YouTube visualizer. And when you click on this, what's great about this is that it automatically sets up all the presets. Okay, you don't need to know which AI model is going to work best for it, what aspect ratio to configure it to, what size we need to do. We're going to set those default for you. And of course, you can optionally disable it. Don't let it override your settings. But in this case, I'm just going to click apply. It already knows to use Nano Banana Pro, and that's it. Now I can set up here and do a YouTube visualizer. I can upload my cover art and it'll reframe it automatically. If I click on change, you're going to see we have an entire library. There's probably anywhere from roughly around 40 different presets of things that you can use to either generate for your music or for your podcast or an interview, or for if you need a press photo, or if you want to come up with like scenes for a video, if you want to come up with ads. We break them out into different categories like scenes, releases. I mean, you could see stuff here like a music video frame, a vertical lyric backdrop. You could look at things for your catalog, like creating time-lapse videos, social media. You can do clips for TikTok, for Reels. And these are generating essentially all of the starting frames that you need when you're going to generate video. I'll just show you quickly. I'm going to select a cover art. Even though we did this last week, I think it's just helpful for you to see how we could take any piece of content. Let's say I'll grab this one here. I'm going to grab this cover art. I'm not going to enter any prompt because this is already set up. I'm just going to click edit. And so give this a few seconds, and essentially what we're doing now is we want to turn this into a visualizer. So what it's doing is it's analyzing the artwork, and based on the artwork, it's coming up with a landscape version that we can use because this one's going to be on YouTube. What's great is you could do the same thing for vertical. So if you don't want just a square cover art that you have generated to appear in a square on a vertical TikTok format, as an example, you can turn that into a tall vertical reframed version of your artwork. To show you what that looks like, check it out. You got the square. Now what it did is it perfectly extended the entire image as if the canvas was made precisely for video, for YouTube as an example. And again, you did not have to write the prompt. It does it automatically with the new presets menu. And then you could reset, remix this, and turn it into a motion video. Now, because I'm showing you these new updates, what's great about this is you can see now there's presets as well to generate video. The presets are not just to generate images. And so if I click here in the preset menu, you can see we already have a preset to also turn your image into video. So if you already had your image and you just want to jump straight to video, you can come over here and say, hey, I'm going to turn my cover into a visualizer or into a reel or into a lyric video. And then here, it'll automatically pick the best AI model as well as the image size, the audio. I'm going to clear the prompt because I don't want to put extra details in there. And now I can turn that into a video. And so to show you what that looks like, I already did it. So I'm just going to pull it up here. And this was an example I did from a previous generation. You could see how we brought that particular album cover to life simply by utilizing the existing artwork. So presets, you're going to have a lot of fun with. I think it could help. A lot of these are actually made from presets. This was a YouTube thumbnail that we took that we turned it into a motion video. Here's another one for cover art. This is an example of doing it for vertical. Square cover art, static image, great. And that turned into a motion video, just like what you're seeing here. Presets menu, huge release, tons of presets, roughly 40 of them for images, 40 of them for videos that you don't even have to know. This helps you with the releases, and we're going to continue adding. The more feedback you give us, things that you don't want to have to reprompt over and over again, we're going to continue adding to our library so that you can generate this type of content on demand. So that's our preset menu. what else did we do? We added a lot of AI models, okay? A lot more over the last month, and we're still adding more. We have a lot more to go, but we want to show you a couple examples of those, okay? And for those of you that are new, you don't understand the AI models, look, each AI model can generate different types of content. They all have their own unique nuances of how the content can appear. Some might be better for animations, some might be perfect for like realistic scenes. And so a lot of these are generated depending on the model. We use VO 3.1 a lot, but we had to add a few more. And so we're going to cover both image and video models. Since we're on the videos section, we're going to go ahead and look at the videos. Now you have different options. We already had Runway Gen 4 Turbo, Luma Ray 2, Flash, Google VO 3.1, and 3.1 Flash. The new ones that have been added over the last few weeks, let's say in the last month or so, we added Google VO 3.1 Lite. Okay, this was one of Google's newer models that was released that won a lot less credits. So you spend a lot less to generate videos. This is great to come up with drafts. But honestly, sometimes I found that depending on the content, it does come out with good outputs that could be used for social media. So it's always worth a try. But if you're experimenting and trying to figure out the type of content you're doing and how the AI model is going to react, VO 3.1 Lite is great. And if you're happy with the prompt and the outcome and you want to now fine tune it and get it even better, you can move to Flash or 3.1. 3.1 Lite is also much faster than just going straight to 3.1, right? So you're going to cut the time in half if you're trying to get a piece of content out. The next AI model we got, Runway Gen 4.5. This does great, especially if you have like cinematic content. I've even seen it do great stuff with animations. And so I definitely encourage you to try Runway Gen 4.5. You could get some unique outputs based on that. We also brought in a few Kling models. So you're going to see here, we have Kling V3.0 for video. You have Kling V3 Omni and Kling 01 Edit. Now, this is our first step of these, but one of the things you can take a look at what Kling can do. One of the things I liked about this is that you can actually select durations anywhere from, let's say, 3 or 4 seconds all the way up to 15 seconds. And so Kling does well if you give it multiple prompts, scenes. So you can break down like, hey, you know, in the first 3 seconds, this is what I want to happen. The next 3 seconds, the next 3 seconds, right? And you could put those timestamps for a 15-second clip. So before we were very restricted. Runway went up to 10, Luma went up to, I think, 9 or 8, VO 3.1 goes up to 8, Kling 3 can go up to 15 seconds. So now you could create longer videos all in one shot. It works by entering a prompt or uploading an image. And you can do that both with Omni and 01 Edit. And so I just encourage you to play with the different models, give them a try, see how they come out. The other thing that's good with this is that these models, like Kling, support a 1:1 aspect ratio. So you could do a square. So if you wanted to do a motion cover straight from, let's say, a cover art, the square asset, you could create that content. Or if you're trying to create social media content for your business, for the music, or anything on TikTok or on Instagram as an example, you could use the square aspect ratio, or even for LinkedIn. So this is a great way to be able to use and test out these different AI models. I encourage you to give them a shot. And then let's take a look at images. So if I go to images, there's been a few that we've added and some that maybe in case you missed, I'll just pull them up. But of course, Nano Banana Pro, we've had for a long time. Nano Banana 2, we released when it first came out. The new one that we added over the last month has been GPT Image 2. I'm sure most of you have heard about it, but GPT Image 2 is incredible. It does take a little bit more time to generate, but when you're doing very text dense assets, I definitely recommend it. Like if you're trying to come up with infographics or even coming up with character sheets, okay? GPT Image 2 is going to be extremely strong, so I definitely encourage you to use it. And not only that, but it can do almost any type of asset. Turn your photo into a character. You could do a press photo. So a lot of these presets that we have set up here, a lot of them are programmed for Nano Banana or Nano Banana 2. What I do encourage you is you could try any one of these as an example, and then come down here and just swap the model and use GPT Image 2 if you want to see what it looks like. You're going to see a huge quality difference for different types of content. We'll cover in another session. We'll go deeper, right? The presets menu, I did an entire session on that already. You could check that out on our YouTube channel coming out soon. And then we'll do another session and cover just GPT Image 2 prompting, right? And you'll see what that looks like. But for now, you can see we have it. We also added Flux 2 Pro. Before we only had Flux Context Max. Again, these models, you're going to see how they do. It could do text rendering as well, but you're going to see the style might be a little bit different for like the visuals, the images, the different scenes. And these were already there, so I won't cover them, but you know, these are just different models now that you have access to. One of the things that a lot of people do inside of visuals, and I'll tell you, it was a bit of a frustration for me as well, and a lot of feedback that that we had from it is inside in creating lyric videos. We call this the lyric video flow, and you can create a lyric video. But I also want you to think about this. You don't just have to use this flow to create lyric videos, okay? We might rename this, but essentially, if you want to take your music or create a video that compiles a bunch of assets together with the audio, this is the flow that you're going to use. You could always disable lyrics. So if you don't want lyrics to appear, you don't have to. But lyrics are a huge way to be able to get attention, to get streams on YouTube and on different platforms. You can even do lyric clips for social media, TikTok, and all of that. So you're going to see I have music in my library that I put together, right? That I've uploaded in the past. Now, if I want to create a lyric video, let's just say I grab and I pick any song. Now, picking the song, you get to a step where you could choose your visual source, okay? This is not new, okay? We've had this so far. What's new, when I go to my library, right now, we let you pick as many assets as you want to put together into a timeline to create a video from. So let's say you generated 10, 15, 20 different scenes for a video, and you want to piece all that footage together into one video. All you had to do was just pick from these. But look what's new. Before, even though you can multi-select, we didn't tell you what order they were going to come on the timeline. So you were always guessing and confused on what images or videos was going to appear on the timeline. But if you look at this, as I add, where I click, it automatically now numbers the videos and the order. And the new thing we added is not only the numbers that you see on the thumbnails, but if you look at the bottom, we now show you in a timeline or a carousel, and you can drag and drop so you can visually see your scenes before you put your video together. And so I'll just loop it that way. So now once you figure out your order and you're like, great, right? I got my order. You can lay out all of the assets that you want to put together into a video, because remember, we're automating this part for you. The other thing too that we added in this part is that you can preview. So I can click this little button right here, and it opens up wide. So now you can preview the video before you select it. You couldn't do that before. So you were just constantly just looking at these little thumbnails. This is a huge improvement. And now it allows you to kind of see, all right, now I've got all my videos. I've selected all the scenes that I want. I'm going to go ahead down here and I'm going to click continue. Now, this step, again, this part is not new. Right? We had this step where you can now select a part of the song. You can actually edit the part of the song you want to use if you're going to do a shorter video, or you could do a full length. But the part that's new as well is that not only did you just reorder your clips, but let's say you finish going through this entire flow and you're like, shoot, I want to make sure the order is correct. Look down here. Here we go. You could click on 9 clips and just opens up this little bottom bar again. And now you can see all the clips that you already had. You can make that final adjustment before you go ahead and generate the lyric video. Okay. So you've got that. You can even add. So if I add, it just takes me back to my library and I can come back and I can add or remove any assets that I want. Now you can reorder your clips to put on the timeline. That's a huge update. Because we're here, I'm going to show you other updates that we made to the lyric video flow, and then we'll compile this video into the video editor. This we redesigned and released maybe more than a month ago. I think this was either in early May or in April. We allowed you to control whether the animations for how the intro versus the outro happened, and to control the transitions between the videos. So what you could do is you could select whether you want to fade from the intro or Ken Burns effect. Ken Burns, I would recommend you use if you're just uploading images, because then it adds that transition animation effect to all the images. But when you're doing video, you could just do a straight fade as an example. But you also can add other ones, right? Those are just quick presets, but you can choose from an entire library. Now, what's new and the feedback that we've had, and we've seen this as well as we generate videos and if we're trying to put out content, is the intro would fade in from black all the time. So what ended up happening is if you wanted to use the first frame as the still on a thumbnail without having to go create a thumbnail, or you wanted the intro to just come straight with the video content, you couldn't, because it always faded from black. So now we've disabled on the intro, and the same for the outro. We've disabled by default the fading in from black or fading out to black on that intro and outro. But now if you want it to fade, you could just enable it down here. So by default, it's off, and now you have total control. You can enable it, and now it'll fade in into black, or you could disable it and we will not fade the intro. And then that does not affect in between clips, because maybe the intro and outro, you need it to be a hard cut, just quick, appear on screen. But in between, you want them to like crossfade into each other, or you want to do Ken Burns, or you want to do a bounce or a flip or a zoom blur. You could still do that in between the clips, or again, just do hard cut. that essentially removes all transition effects in between the videos. Let me answer any questions before I keep going. Can you give us a help knowledge base section that shows us some of the example differences between those models? I don't want to burn credits, just testing to see what the differences are. Great question. We have a lot of variety, so we'll put together something that we can add to our knowledge base. And maybe what I'll do is another session where I can go, before and after, and I could show different models and how they look across different ones. Because again, I don't want you burning credits for no reason. And the only reason I want you burning credits is if it actually produced something of value for you. And so let me see what we could do there, and we'll start showcasing that over either the next session, and we'll also put together a knowledge base article so you can see the differences. Probably some of you may have noticed sometimes clicking best just did not find the best part of the song. We fixed it. This was rolled out last month as well. You could use a full duration, or you could use a fixed duration per clip. We're at the final step, okay? I reordered the clips. I don't have fade in and fade out locked in. I'm going to go ahead now and click create lyric video. The one thing you'll notice here now is that we are not deducting credits for creating a lyric video if you used your own assets, okay? We used to charge 10 credits every time you click that button that I just clicked right now. But now going forward, it will not charge credits, okay? And that's already released. The only time that you'll get charged credits is if you're going to use AI generation, right? You're generating, or you have to reframe because that's actually using AI. There's a big cost to it. Check this out. Now we've got everything that I just showed you populated here inside of the video editor. And I did this on purpose. One, I'll preview this so you can see what it looks like. And then I'm going to run through a couple of different things that we did. So I'm just going to press play. So I thought I just selected videos, but what's cool is you could populate images, you could populate videos, you could populate a mixture of different ones. I'll just kind of skim through. You can see how it populated everything here on the timeline. So we got this as an example. Let's see what we got here. There's a lot of little details. Right now I have all of these assets in here. What you could do now is, let's say you had all these assets, and the reason why you see so many is because we looped the clips and add the fade in, fade out into it. What's cool with this is that I could actually replace them all now in bulk. You could only do one video at a time. So if you are replacing it, this is good if you're just trying to create a looping video. So for example, if I selected this particular one, I could replace all the clips with that. But it won't change the images. It'll only affect the clips. So if I press play, you're going to see now I just replaced all the clips on the timeline with that one video. Okay. And this is just going to go in a loop because it's just doing the same video over and over again. This is good if you're just trying to get more content out, or if you want to loop a video but have a fade in, fade out transition in between each one of those clips, right? So that's one feature. You could also now, what's great about this is replace just individual clips. You don't have to do it in bulk. So I can come over here and right click on the asset here on the timeline, and there's this new replace feature. And that's what's great is I could just click replace, and I can select any video from here, and it'll replace that one individual clip, and there it is, right? So now we have that one particular clip that is replaced on the timeline. Now, why do we do this? Why is that so important, okay? We do have the ability to make templates, and this is probably very underused, but this was one feature that didn't unlock that right now, right? So I can come over here, and we have a couple templates in here, but these are just to show you examples, but you can always save a template. So if I, let's say, click on this one. Now, by the way, what I'm doing right now is going to replace everything on the timeline, okay? So if I click apply template, it's going to replace it, okay? So what I'll do is I'll just click a new project up here. I can click on templates and select any one here. Because it's an empty project, it doesn't matter. I could just click apply. And now you're going to see that it actually populates, and I'll just press play so you can see. Here's an example video template. So what I could do now, if I want to use, I could just replace this particular asset and pull one video from my library, right? So I can maintain all the captions and the templates in here, so I don't have to like redo them or anything like that. So I'll pull in Monaco. And then on this case, I'll swap out this particular video. And so there you go. So now I could just press play and see what happens, right? And there you go. So what's great about this is if you want to create a template of a format of how you want your videos, where you want the captions to enter, how many different clips you have positioned with the proper durations, you can create that inside of the editor. And then all you have to do is click up here, this save button. Save as template and name it. And then you can make it public if you want to share it with others as well. Add a category, add some tags, and just click save. And now that'll appear here in your side template, and you can see I have my templates, and you would just use this and it'll now apply the template with all my assets and the footage that I've used. Okay. So templates are not new, but what's new now is that now you can select on any asset and you can replace it by right clicking. And you can also replace it up here in the top left sidebar by clicking replace. And that now presents you your entire library so you can replace that asset. So that is now the ability. You can one click swap your asset. What's great is that it works with images and video. Okay, you just have to do them individually. Or if they're all video, you can replace all video in bulk or all images in bulk. Okay. That's how that piece works. All right, I have a 9-second video clip that does not loop, and I want to turn it into a looping video. Can that be done in visuals? Yes. So the main way with a looping video inside of visuals, so let's say I have this video, it's 8 seconds long. Okay, there's 2 ways to do a loop. One you could do from within the video editor. The second one is you do it through the lyric video flow. Okay, in here you're going to see, if you click on the video asset, there's something that says seamless loop. Okay, I don't promise that it's seamless. Okay, that's the thing. It depends on how your video starts and ends. This video here was not made for a seamless loop, meaning that it's not going to be the perfect seamless loop that I would want. But now what I could do is I could extend the duration of this particular video, let's say for a longer period of time. So now I have this video, I have seamless loop enabled. Here's what happens with that video. As it's playing, it's going to automatically loop, but the loop is automatically going to start at the beginning. You see how now this is looping? And so you can drag your video to extend or shorten as long or as short as you want. So right now this will loop for 4 minutes and 41 seconds if you want this particular clip as an example. And so it all depends on the video. If you make the video in a way where it starts and ends on the last frame, which for example, we have an AI model called Luma. If you use Luma to generate the AI video, there's a toggle that says loop and it'll turn it into a loop, meaning that this will always look like a seamless loop inside of a video. And so that's one way to do it. The other way is through the lyric video flow. Instead of selecting 10 assets from my library, you could just select one, but you can have the duration be 4 minutes long or 60 seconds long, and it will automatically create the loops for the entire video. So here we have a video or something like that, right? So the other thing that we added now, if I click on library, before, every time that you would add an asset to your library, it would always close this panel if you were to add something. In the past, you could not select multiple assets to add to your library, right? So I could multi-select videos in here now, okay? And you'll see down here the timeline similar to what we did in the lyric video flow. And by the way, I can extend this panel a little bit more if I want to see a couple more in a row. And you can rearrange how you want them added to the timeline, okay? This part is just going to be so helpful when you're adding extra content to your timeline. And what's great is you can also preview the videos before you add it into the video edit project. This is new. So now you can click and you can view. So we just did a lot of quality updates that help you to be able to see adding content, messing around with it. You can see that here. So now I've got all my videos, but now I want that video to appear, let's say right here. Now you can select at the exact moment in the timeline where you want them to come in, and I'm going to click add. And now it adds it right there on the playhead. This was an issue we had before. In the past, you couldn't click where you wanted these clips to appear. It would always appear either at the beginning or at the end of a particular video. Now you have them. And of course, I can multi-select and move them around on the timeline however you want. And then you can press play and just see what that looks like as an example. You can multi-select clips directly from the left sidebar. You can preview and reorder the clips before you add them to the timeline. They now add at the exact playhead right on the timeline, which makes it easier. We didn't go through it as much right now, but in the library on the left sidebar, we actually revamped this piece. Before, you could only see uploads or images or videos. We didn't really have an all tab. Now we have an all tab that pulls from your entire library. You could drag your media in here to upload as well. You get images, videos, even audio. You can pull in the assets that you've already uploaded into the platform. A lot of updates that we've made and performance that we've done just here on this sidebar alone. We're going to talk a little bit about lyrics inside the video editor as well. You notice that any time that you upload music, it's automatically going to add captions with it. You can see now it's playing and you've got the lyrics animating on the screen, okay? This hasn't changed as an example. But the parts that we've added a new feature. So we have a way to be able to edit all your lyrics. You can make a lot of edits directly, edit text. You can even drag the timestamps around if you wanted to. When you click the 3-dot ellipsis menu here in the top, we have something called paste and align and import lyrics. You have 2 options here right now. Paste and align, that now opens up this modal window. What's cool about this? If you already have your lyrics, it's already, or your captions, right? This works for video as well. It's not just for music. This works for an interview, a podcast, a short form clip. If you have the captions already in here, you can copy and paste those lyrics or your captions directly in here. And what it'll do is it's automatically going to align it to the audio, okay? And it's going to preserve the spelling, the accents, the punctuation that you have. Because when you upload music or you upload a video, we have maybe, I don't know, 95 to 98% accuracy rate. But it also depends on the language. Sometimes it can misinterpret a word or two, right? Or a phrase. It might have heard it one way versus the way it's actually spelled, or maybe you know exactly what was said. So if you already know and you already have that, you could paste that in here, right? Just raw lyrics, and we will automatically align it to now the actual lyrics that appear here and it'll populate in here. So that's going to make it a lot easier for you if you already have your captions or your lyrics that are with the correct spelling. And what's great is that that syncs once to the source, meaning that if you reuse that song or video again for another project, you won't have to do this again. That doesn't take away where you could still come in here. You can edit any particular word or sentence or phrase. You could also make a correction for one word across the board by correcting them all. You even still have access to right click and merge lines together or split lines apart, as well as a find and replace. You could just search a keyword like running, and then you could replace all across the board if you wanted to. But that's our new paste and align feature here. I'll also show it to you outside once we get out of the editor. We've added a couple more fonts like Josephine and several others. You could choose from different fonts that you want for your captions. The font slider, you can now go really big. Okay, so I'm showing you here. Before you can only go up to maybe 150 or 200. You can go now up to 500. There's very specific use cases of why you would want to do that, but we've extended that here. So that should make things a lot easier for those of you that were trying to get creative with it. This is small, but a nice quality of life update. I can now use my arrow to shift this around. That never worked before. So I'm using my keyboard right now to kind of move this around. You could hold shift, it'll move it faster, or just the arrow and it goes a little bit slower. And this was an update in our last month, the previous month, but you could see we have alignment guides in the editor as well. And so if you have multiple assets, it'll align. The same thing down here. If you have a bunch of different video clips and assets, you can also drag and it'll align to those sections and you'll see them come in. Volume. This is another one. So before, the volume used to default at 80%. I have no idea why. This was obviously a bug, but now audio automatically defaults to 100%. So that's been fixed on our end. Also export. So we have our export feature, and maybe 2 months ago we added more features in here, but in the last month and improvements, it is a lot faster, especially if you're exporting ProRes. For most of you, MP4 might be fine, but if you're officially going to release content through like Apple, YouTube, Vivo, or any official partners, you're going to need to use ProRes, right? Because ProRes is going to be the file formats that they accept. And this is made so that you can release it on those platforms, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Vivo, etc. If you're uploading by yourself to your own YouTube channel or to your website or other places, for majority of use cases, MP4 is going to work fine. But ProRes now does render a lot faster. It still takes time. These files are anywhere from 5 to 8 to 10 gigabytes each, okay? They're huge, okay, because of the uncompressed nature of these ProRes files. So again, for those of you that use this, there is a boost. We probably cut down the creation time by like 30 to 40%. But look, ProRes still takes maybe 15 minutes and it looks like it's not making progress. It's just, it takes time to render. MP4 is usually within a minute or two at the most, depending on the length of the video. You should be able to render an MP4 file and export that to download to your computer. If I go to upload a song, you can come down here and a couple things that we've added in here. So you could upload your song directly in here, a WAV file or an MP3, and you could see we also have the ability to bring your own lyrics. So if you don't want us to transcribe your lyrics, you already have them. You already have them time-stamped word per word, so you can create a lyric video and you don't want credits to be deducted for it. That's totally fine. You can now choose right here to upload your lyrics, okay? And it'll pull a file from your computer. And we also added support for TTML files. So before we only supported like SRT, VTT, we also support JSON, and now we support TTML as well. And so you can upload that here. Aside from that, you could paste lyrics. So if you don't want to upload, you could actually like paste lyrics is going to be the same thing that I showed you in the Magic Align feature. This is going to align it, meaning we're still going to use AI to analyze the lyrics and to get the word by word timestamps, but we're going to use your spelling and accents. So over here means you're just going to bypass it altogether. Over here, you still need us to timestamp word by word. And if you come down here at the bottom, you could skip altogether the AI analysis we do on the music as well as the transcription. So yes, you'll save credits, but remember, this is not for everyone. This is because either one, you want to upload the song to use it, but you don't care about the captions or lyrics. You don't need them displayed in the video. You don't need the analysis for the prompts to come up with ideas based on the song. You could skip that down here, and we will not process the audio with our AI analysis that we do. The other thing that is beneficial now, when you click in a song, you could, one, even after it's generated, you could come here and now you could re-upload your lyrics if you didn't do it the first time. You couldn't do that before. And you could rerun a transcription or music analysis in case you replaced it with your own or anything like that, and you decided not to run it, and then you figure out a week later that now you do need the analysis. You could just come back here and do it on demand. And so these are just a couple more quality of updates that we've done. And still, you get to see the entire analysis that we've done on your music based on genre, era, mood, the structural analysis, and your lyrics are going to be down here after we've already transcribed it and timestamped. We've made improvements to the library. There's two things that even our team loves, and we added. One, we fixed the favorites feature. Unfortunately, favorites just weren't populating, but that's fixed now here. As well as if you're inside, like let's say videos, and you click on favorites tab, they will populate here. So what's great is you can find the assets that you love and just click the heart button. It gets added to favorites, and now it's here. The other thing we added is the ability now to filter your library based on a date range. Now I could select this date range, I can click apply, and now I could filter an entire library based on content that was generated. So you can see there was a lot of UGC exploration and content there. This is great, especially once you spend a couple months generating, you got thousands of footage. This helps you to kind of see your content at different points in time. When you used to buy credits, for those of you that don't know, you can click on upgrade, and I think my account won't show it, but if you're on any plan, at the bottom, you'll see the ability to buy credits. Unfortunately, it would show you that the charge was 10 times more than what it was. It didn't charge you that, but in the UI, and that got fixed. There's just a ton of great updates. I think one of the ones I'm really excited about, and many people are as well, is just the ability to be able to select a preset. So I want to open it up now for questions. Is there anything that you want to see? Any questions you have? Any features you want to request, or just feedback overall? I want to see creating a still with branded colors with only text, a square still that promotes a show. Let's give it a shot. So how I would do this, just based on what you asked, you wants to make a pretty much a show flyer or something like that, right? For now, I'm going to use a show tour poster, but I'm going to customize the settings. And in here, because we're going to use text, it's going to use Nano Banana Pro, 2:3 aspect ratio. I'm going to actually keep that a square because you said you wanted it to be a 1:1. Quality 4K. I don't think we need it. I'll change that later. I'm going to take this off here. I'm just customizing the settings. But the main thing is I want this preset, okay? This is so important for everyone. You have to select a preset because that's the only way our AI knows what type of content you're trying to create, because you could create for almost any format. Huge difference if you're creating a show flyer versus a Spotify canvas versus a YouTube visualizer. So select it here so that we have it. And sorry, I have to take this moment, but if it doesn't fit in any one of these, I want you to message me, okay? Either on our community or on Discord, but you could start from scratch. Start from scratch gives you a blank slate, and it will rely purely on your prompt. So now that I've got this setting, I'm going to do 2K because I don't need the full quality right now. 1:1 square. You don't have to select any of these settings, but you could. So create a 1:1 still to promote this show called the pre-brief show, right? We're going to do this live. Do not use any images. We are only use colors and clean backgrounds to promote it. So I'm just giving it basic instructions. Remember, I use voice dictations. That's why you see me speak and then it appears later. And I'm just going to say we only use colors and clean backgrounds to promote it, as well as to promote it, and the typography. For the branding, use muted or neutral colors. So I'm going to go ahead and hit generate. You could upload a reference image if you wanted it to, if you had a style. What I didn't do, but you could, is you can come here and actually select things like the genre, the mood, if you have a specific mood that you want for the visual. You can even use a visual style. Okay, this is a whole preset library that we have access to that could be appended to your prompt. So if I wanted something like anime, grunge, retro, you could do something like that as well. So because I only gave it that text and we said neutral muted colors, here's the example of what it would have done from a frame perspective. And by the way, you just said minimalist. I didn't have to type it, but you can tell this is pretty minimal from that aspect. What do you think? You're saying it was easy. You were overthinking it. Yeah, don't overthink these things. I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to select like watercolor and surreal dreamcore. I'm going to add some pops of color in here, right, to see what it comes up with as an example, and include a CTA to show. I'm just going to say watch now as an example, right? So you're going to see how now we took this example, super simple, and we just customized it a little bit more. Number one, I asked it to add a CTA, a call to action, that says watch now, and I chose a specific style, Dreamcore, watercolor, and I picked a couple colors from the library just to see what it's going to do. And what's great is you always know what's going to be included in the prompt. You'll see it down here as these little like chips, and you can always remove it, right? So the color fire, yellow, purple, watercolor, surreal, Dreamcore. Look at that. I took your exact prompt, just minor details I added on it, and you can see now what it turned it into. I didn't put in the time, the place, the location, the artist name, so of course it's just putting placeholders for now. But what's great is you could, if you love this, all you got to do is remix it back into an image, and you're literally here. All you have to do is tell it what to replace on that image, because we are pre-populating it here. So you can make edits to any existing image as well. Good question. You're saying next you want to create a show advertising video 9 to 12 seconds long. Yeah, so it depends with voice or script, but in here what you could do is run ads as an example. So like you've got one that's like an AI UGC ad. This would be more of like a person talking like almost to the camera and promoting the show, and you can write a script and it's just now a person talking about it. Yeah, so it would just be the UGC ad of what we have, but you could always start from scratch and upload your image if you want to use it. I'm going to edit the prompt as an example, and in here you could say turn this image into a 8-second ad, include a voiceover that's promoting the pre-brief show. Make sure you do motion graphics on the font. Don't show any people, but include different animations and effects to promote that can be displayed on a big screen. So I'm not going to overcomplicate it because I'm just going by what you mentioned to see what it would do. You could select your AI model. I'm going to leave it 8 seconds long, and I'm going to keep AI generation on as an example in this case, right? And maybe I'll do a 16:9 aspect ratio. It might be a wider screen versus the other one. And that's it. I would hit generate in this case. And so with the VO 3.1 model, it can generate voice and characters. I could have done this with Kling. Actually, I'll just do it. Let's do Kling V3 video, and I'll make it 15 seconds long. And I'm going to turn this into 15-second ad. Okay, so now I'm going to use V3 video, audio generation on, and I'm just going to go ahead and hit generate. So right now I have 2 different videos generating. This will take, could take 2 minutes or so. Kling sometimes could take a little bit longer from what I've noticed, so we just got to give that a moment. The other thing I didn't show, and while this is generating, I have my prompt here, and this is actually a huge update. Aside from the preset menu, we also revamped our prompt writer. Our prompt writer is right here, this little magic button that says enhance prompt with AI. If you select a song, or you upload an image, or you type a bunch of text in here and click that button, it will now analyze the image that you uploaded. It'll analyze the prompt that I already wrote, and it'll rewrite it into a brand new prompt. Okay, so now look at this, and you could see it saying use the provided image as a visual foundation for a polished 15-second promo ad. You could build it around animated typography, kinetic font reveals, light sweeps. You could see how it enriched my entire prompt to get the concept of what I wanted. And you could add instructions in there. So even if you don't know how to prompt, but you put your rough idea in here, you can click this button and it'll rewrite it for you, because now it has context of what you wrote, plus it analyzes the visual that you uploaded. Here we go. Here's the pre-brief show. Check that out. Doesn't that look pretty cool? So what's great is you could do this for anything. You could do this for your music. Pretty cool, right? You could probably grab that frame if you like it and turn it into a logo and come up with concepts for it. So this is just one example. We just did this live on a call. This is using VO 3.1 Flash, generated the image based on a very simple idea, put together a video with the animation. This is Kling V3 video.
Ahead of the curve with the pre-brief show, your daily dose of insight delivered with precision and clarity for that matter.
Enable audio. So this was Kling 3 video. I liked VO 3.1 better. Let's look at that one.
Stay ahead of the curve with the pre-brief show. Essential insights coming soon to your screens.
You can see how this was VO 3.1 Flash. I didn't even use the standard version, right? That was Flash, which is faster, even a little bit less quality. You could always go standard version. And then the Lite version, which I think is almost done. Here it is. And let's press
Welcome to the pre-brief show. Join us for an exclusive look at the stories that matter, starting right now. Welcome to the pre-brief show. Join us.
If anybody else has any questions, please go ahead and drop it in the chat or reach out to me in the community or on Discord. I'm Sebastian Mourra. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Visuals.fm. I hope you enjoyed a lot of the updates that we had. Please take the time to experiment inside of our platform. Try the different things. And if there's anything you want me to try in our next session so that you don't burn the credits, I'm super happy to do it. Just let me know and we'll take it from there. That is a wrap. Again, thank you everyone. If you find this on YouTube, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, turn on the notification bell, drop a comment. The YouTube algorithm loves it when you do that, and it helps us out a ton. We want for others to be able to see it as well. Thank you again for your time. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your week. Bye, everyone.